sentence. It's your money. It's not the public. It's not the state's money. It's your money.
Okay, the next question. Is there a need for legislative ethics reform, and have you signed the pledge for legislative ethics reform? Sandstrom.
Before I answer that, can you clarify which ethics reform you're speaking of?
No, I don't know. It's not my question.
Okay, well, I will answer it and explain to you. First off, I've been there 2 years. I have not seen major ethical problems as a member of the state legislature. I have never had anybody ask me to do anything unethical, not even a hint of it. So to make it sound like there's a huge problem, I don't totally agree with that. Can there be reforms? Yes, there needs to be reforms. I believe in that 100%. And because of that, I have signed on to what is being called, it's ethics reform legislation that's being proposed by a local Salt Lake City attorney by the name of, I just slipped his name, but it's John Kessler. John Kessler. And this is a bipartisan ethics reform legislation that's being worked on right now. It has been supported by partisanship. It has now been endorsed by the Utah Supreme Court. It's been endorsed by the governor, the attorney general, and the lieutenant governor. And it is true ethics reform where we have everything open, in the open, and how we do business as a legislature. Now, if the person was referring to another ethics reform issue that they wanted me to sign, people asked to sign, that was nothing more than kind of a union trap put forward by the UEA. Now, what this did was it wasn't true ethics reform. It did not address issues of unions and how they help support campaigns. It was to help people. It was to help the other party, basically. And I wasn't going to fall for a politically driven ethics reform bill. I want openness, and I want clarity on what we can and can't do. And I certainly have voted twice now for ethics reform in the legislature. There have been 2 bills in the last 2 years I've voted for. Yes, we need to be ethical. Yes, everything needs to be in the open and visible for all to see.
Mr. Baugh?
I jotted down the name of John Kessler. I appreciate that very much, so I can take a look at that. There are several of these, as you've indicated, that are available. There will be one that might be in the newspaper in the next couple of days. We've written a press release as Utah County candidates regarding ethics reform. I've signed that. I think it's called a guarantee. It's an interesting word. I've also signed the Utahns for Public Schools pledge. Steve has referred to that as the UEA's trap. I am just frankly sick and tired of the tone and some of the words about this UEA and this union. Who's the UEA? It's 18,000 public school teachers. I may have the number wrong by 500 or 1,000. And I think about the teachers that my kids have had. We've had 8 go through the system. That's the UEA. I'm just offended by that. Proud to have signed that particular pledge. Proud to have signed the guarantee. And it talks about things like, I cannot accept campaign funds for my personal use. It talks about an independent ethics investigation. It talks about not accepting gifts over $50. These are the kinds of things that have been in place year after year after year. I don't know why the legislation doesn't go anywhere. Steve said he signed those too, or supported and so forth. I'm sure that's the truth. But why don't they go anywhere? Who's the party in control of getting some legislation regarding ethics reform? It doesn't go anywhere. I'd like to be there to be a voice to see if we can have one more vote to get that thing through.
Thank you. The next question is a 1-minute question, and Steve Baugh will go first. What laws or regulations would you seek to repeal this next session? What do you want to see taken off the books?
I don't have an answer to that question. Whoever asked that, I want to learn. And please talk to me after. There's a cell phone number on some materials that, by the way, as you leave, I hope you'll take some of the materials that are at the back door. But I'm not able to answer that question.
That's fine. Representative Sandstrom?
Just a 1 minute. Well,
Listen, take notes.
Okay. Well, there's we have looked hard. I've sponsored several bills in the last session that actually took different laws off the books, antiquated rules that we're taxing. We put a gas tax stamp on every gas pump in the state of Utah. I'd eliminate that. I had that bill. It didn't get all the way through the committee. Eliminate unnecessary taxes. One particular bill that I would eliminate right now is I would eliminate in-state tuition for illegals. As another example. The California Court of Appeals just found that unconstitutional. And now California could be liable for billions of dollars in back payments to U.S. citizens that paid out-of-state tuition that should have been protected under the Constitution. So I would go ahead and eliminate that. But, there's always ways to eliminate programs that are unnecessary that we need to cut back to keep our budget small.